Alright, welcome back. So it's time to blow up some ships, the usual thing I like to do on weekends. Now, I have been looking at the Dominic's nanocores, kind of trying to figure out which one I want to get for the ship. I really wish that we did get a Battleship Illusionary Ghost nanocore box like we did get for the cruisers and battlecruisers and frigates. Because I honestly think that the Illusionary Ghost nanocore is one of the best looking ones. Now, when it comes to nanocores, I usually just aim for the looks, but in the case of the Dominics, I kind of want some extra DPS as well as good looks. So on this ship, I might be getting a well, I mean, let's take a look at what nanocores you even have for the Dominics. One of the, I guess, bad decisions I've made is not leveling up a single nanocore in the 5 years of me playing the game. I mostly use like blue, green nanocores on most of my ships, but for the Dominics, I just want something special, and I add, again, the Illusionary Ghost, probably the best looking one, although the other nanocores are also looking very nice. It's a tough decision for me, really. No idea which one to pick, but I will eventually decide to buy one. And I say it's kind of funny because all of these ships that you see here, well, most of them have no nanocore, no purple nanocore. None of them is like leveled up. I think I have a total of 3 or 4 purple nanocores, and I have no gold nanocores on any of my ships. So far, I would say I have been doing really well, considering the fact that I have absolutely no nanocore on most of my ships. And to be honest, I don't really need them for the most part, because the ships already have everything that they need for the most part up until now, I would say. The nanocore would just be overkill for my ships here. But, you know, I think the Dominics does deserve to get a nanocore because it's a very nice ship. Probably one of my favorite ships in the game at the moment. And I know it's only a Dominic's, but this Space Potato has been really nice lately. I really love this thing. Now, the first target for today, we have a Balgorn. Now my friend is picking up a Dominic's Navy as well, and I'm just chilling here waiting for my friend to be ready. Now, as for the build on this ship, 4 scramblers, usually what I have, since you don't really need anything else. There is no special module at the moment. The special missile module for this ship is still not released. And for the first week or so, I thought, you know, that they have postponed it because of balancing issues. But turns out not really the case. Wasn't really the case. Lore-wise, in the game, the module is still being worked on, so the module is still not technically, you know, researched in the game lore-wise, which is kind of interesting. And yes, probably it's one way to, you know, have an excuse to further improve or, I guess, balance out the module, which is, I guess, kind of funny. Since who knows, maybe the module did really bring like a 500% flat bonus on drone DPS. That would be pretty hilarious if that was the case. We never know, we don't know, and we probably will never know until the module is released, of course. Well, my friend is using, I think that's the Thermo 2 nanocore, and that's probably the nanocore that I will be picking for this thing. I think the Thermo has like the best DPS, we will see. If we do get a Illusionary Ghost core, I'm probably picking the Illusionary Ghost core for the Dominics, just because it looks so good. Anyway, well, that Balgorn is about to be visited by about I think we have like 100,000 DPS combined at the moment, which is a lot of DPS by the way, since both of our ships have roughly the same drones and both of our ships have roughly... Well, my friend has a much better implant, that's for sure, better general units and I think better level. So overall we're looking at a lot of DPS on the two Dominic's battleships here. Now I have warp first, surprisingly, usually that's not the case, but my friend has a very fast ship, so he is very close by. Okay, technically we are landing at the same time here. Very little difference in the warp speed. Well, I mean there is a difference, but not a big one. And scrambled. That was a fantastic, beautiful warping. And drones unloaded. Ouch. That was quick. That was a battleship, by the way. And that battleship vanished in a blink of an eye. This is why I love the Dominic's Navy. It has so much DPS. This thing is silly. And this is not even the final form. Oh, this is definitely not the final form DPS wise. We will have a lot more when that new module is out. Now, the module will have some drawbacks, of course, that's to be expected, but you know, any extra DPS is welcomed.
Warp drive
The
active.
Bombard implant is so broken. I've been always saying that. And after using a high level one, it just confirmed everything I've ever said about the implant. Everything I've ever said about the implant, I was dead on. Nailed it right in the center. And yes, I'll be enjoying the Bombard until it's nerfed. Drones are now my primary weapon. I don't really use anything else. I mean, battleship wise, I don't use the Macariel anymore. This is my battleship now. 4.3 billion ISK, not bad, a good catch. Definitely a good kill. Was a shield tank Balgorn. Haven't seen a shield tank Balgorn in a very long time. Been a while since I've seen the last one. Okay then. Time for some Logi frigate action. Oh my god, I really love to fly this thing. Haven't been using them though, since most of the targets haven't been suitable for the Logi frigates. But we have a retriever. And that retriever is about to have a very bad day, since I am using a Logi frigate to kill it. Now, usually I would take, you know, the Imicus high mobility, but lately a lot of ships have escaped the Imicus, because unfortunately it only has one medium slot for one scrambler. While a Logi frigate can have 8 points, 2 scramblers, which makes it perfect for what I'm doing with them. And it's always hilarious to kill something with a Logi frigate. Again, I am the only Logi frigate pilot in the game that uses a Logi frigate for PvP. No one else does this. I'm the only one. I mean, I use the Imicus high mobility for PvP, that tells you something. And no one else does that, which is, again, funny. Well, that retriever is not having a good day, that's for sure. I remember, I think I fought a covetor a couple times, or I think the first big kill I've had with this thing was a covetor. And that covetor did try to fight back with drones. I killed the drones though, and they panicked very hard, which was the main cause of their ship's demise in the end. Now why do I fly the Inquisitor mostly? Because of the tank, and I just like how this thing looks. But to be honest, there is no difference in the performance DPS wise when it comes to Logi frigates. I just love this thing because it looks so weird. Probably the only combat Inquisitor in the game at the moment. And that retriever is not having a good day at all. This is a very slow and painful death. It's hilarious though, that's for sure. Definitely funny to use this. Well, that's one of the more painful ways to lose a ship, I guess. Imagine being killed by a loggy frigate. Yeah. That's straight up uninstall button right there. At least that's how I would do that for sure. Okay, and oh, a C-type. That's lovely. I think I just looted about 80 million in loot. That's a pretty good catch there. That's a pretty good catch, not gonna lie. I have about...
Warp drive
I
active.
think last week I got maybe... I need to check my loot again. I think I got like 40 billion loot or something. I have a lot of loot gathered over time. I sold a lot of the assets for the implant, that's true. But still have plenty left. And let me dock, because why not? It's the safest thing to do. Well, safe. Safe, not really the thing I would use to describe this maneuver here, but you know. I'd rather be killed by gate guns than to get jumped by 50 ships, so docking it is. And you'll be surprised. I think last week someone dropped like a 10-man fleet on my Blackbird, I think. I docked, but it was funny to see like 10 Cinnaballs running towards you. That's actually a pretty good loot drop, honestly. And a good kill for a loggy frigate. Let's go to the next target. We have a Myrmidon. Now, I contemplated to take something else for the Myrmidon, but there wasn't really a good warping. And I did not want to miss the target. The the Celos is definitely a very good ship when there is no good warping, because you can just warp anywhere and just rush toward the target. And this is a long range build with high DPS, not the maximum possible DPS since I have a clocking device. Didn't really bother to change the build much. I just went with what I already had on it, and there's the Myrmidon. 33 kilometers is the warping. I will rush towards it. Pointed. Yeah, there we go. That's why I like the Celos. Long range, crazy DPS. It is a very nice ship to have and a very nice ship to fly. Has a very good DPS output. Even with artillery cannons, with the barrage and battery mode, it works really well. There we go. Myrmidon has been destroyed. Let's take a look at the wreck. Well, not bad. I got some C-types. I'll take them. Worthy collection. Worthy assets for my collection, I guess. And since I have a cloaking device, I don't have to dock. I can just cloak. I started this game. Started PvP with cover-top ships. And I still fly cover-top ships 5 years later. I love that. Let's take a look at the kill. 368 million, not bad. Not a bad, well, not exactly a good build, but not a bad. And a golden nanocore. Interesting when you see a cheaper build, but then you see a expensive nanocore on the ship. I find that very interesting. I find it very, very interesting, to be honest. Okay, let's go to the next
warp drive
target. Now, I actually thought to use a loggy frigate or a Noctis for the next target, but upon further and closer inspection of the nanocore of the target, I realized that they might actually be a quite expensive ship, and potentially they might have a lot of stabs. So I decided to trust my instincts, and I went with the Stratius. Slapped for scramblers. I have 16 points on this thing now, and I think that should be more than enough to hold the next ship. It is a procurer, so usually they are quite stabbed, and I really need to assemble my own procurer for PvP. I kept saying that, but I'll always do something else, and I always forget to set up the ship. But I have bombs loaded just in case for scrammers are not enough. If the scrammers are not enough, the bombs will be enough. 4,500 DPS on this thing right now, so not really worried about not having enough DPS. Definitely has enough DPS, and they have drones out. Well, they are at 0 though, so let me go and engage. Scrambled, let's launch the drones. That's not going to last long for sure. And the industrial ship has been destroyed. Well, okay. Now, upon immediate inspection, right, it doesn't seem that expensive. And that's what I thought first when I looked at the cargo hold. And this is where I started to kind of regret not picking a combat loggy frigate for this purpose, because I love to use that thing. But when I opened a direct message, perhaps we have some salt incoming, we will see. But when I clicked on the kill, I immediately said that's a good decision that I took this ship, because warp core stabs, and I think it has 3, well, definitely has more than 4 stabs. Yep, salt, as expected. I think a battle loggy would be able to handle it with 2 scrammers, but maybe not, I don't know. In any case, it was kinda a funny kill. Let's go to the next target. We have a Covetor 2. Well, I guess our journey with the Stratius today will continue. Also has 4 scrammers. Now, I have engaged this Covetor previously with a
warp drive active.
Imicus high mobility, and they warped off. Now, I'm fairly sure that that Covetor has stabs. I'm not sure how many stabs they have, but stabs in this case haven't been the real problem. The real problem was, look how far away that Covetor is from the belt. Now, there is no warping. There is no object I could warp to and then warp to the Covetor. They're moving, they're orbiting, so if I were to warp with a Noctis or Battle Loggy frigate, they would have all the time to warp off to safety, and I just did not want to let them escape. So the Stratius has been chosen for this purpose, for this target, since, you know, you can't run away from this thing. It's very hard to run away from a Stratius. So I will be slowly approaching. They're also moving away and moving towards. I think they're keeping the rocks at distance, which is the first time ever I've seen a money ship do that. Well, hopefully no one will disrupt my approach here, since there has been occasions where a pilot comes in, scans with a bad scanner, and then they scare everything off in the system. That's been happening a lot recently. Mostly players who are starting out PvP for the first time that don't have good scanning skills or don't have a good scanner. So a little advice: if you're scanning, at least make sure that you don't give out a ping, because that's very annoying when you're trying to. It's very annoying to get a ping when you're trying to hunt something, especially when the target gets ping as well. So you don't, you know, you're not able to catch anything, and you are basically ruining the hunt for everyone else. The Covetor made a very fatal mistake here, and they decided to approach. Now our combined velocity is about 600 meters per second. So that's the speed, that's the approach now that we are having here. And very soon I'll be able to tackle, very soon I'll be able to decloak. There's no way that they'll escape a Stratius, because Stratius is very sneaky. Bombs loaded, and let's yeet the Covetor. Well, yeah, maybe the bombs are overkill. Yeah, the bombs are definitely overkill. That was fast. That was fast. Wish I used the Loggy frigate. Unfortunately, the circumstances did not allow me to use the Loggy frigate, so had to use this thing. And the pod has been removed as well. They have changed the color of the kill marks on the Stratius, which is funny. Now they are orange. They used to be blue. No idea why they done that. No idea why they changed the kill marks on the Stratius. Maybe because they have been visible. But it's a little change that not many noticed. Let's take a look at the kill. 855 million, not bad. Unfortunately, cursed build, and they definitely had 3 stabs. Definitely at least 3 stabs. Oh well. Wish I used the Logi frigate, but unfortunately the circumstances did not allow me to do that. Anyway, let's go to the next target. So, I have been using all sorts of weird ships lately, mostly because it is quite hilarious to use weird ships for PvP. And ever since I started to fly all sorts of weird ships, I start to have a lot more fun in the game. And the best part is, you don't even need to be Omega to fly these ships that I'm flying. They are easily accessible to everyone, and you don't have to have Omega to do PvP with these ships, because build and the way you build your ship is basically the most important thing. But I'll use the good old Mark V bot Maler. Now I call it Mark V because the modules I have on this thing are silly. But you know, it gets the job done. I might build a Guardian Maler with a slightly more tank and with a different build, more expensive build, but this thing is probably one of the best tier 6 ships and overall one of the best cruisers in the game. I would actually rate the Maler above the Stabber fleet because the Maler can tank a Stabber fleet without a problem. And this thing is just way too much fun. But our target is a Omen Navy, and they have been sitting here for a while, so I suspect that this Omen is a bait. I'll gladly take a bait. Let's see. Why did my ship not want to lock? Why didn't my ship want to lock there? That's weird. Okay, well, let's chase. Planet 1. That's a very weird bait ship that warps off when something bites. That's probably not a bait now. But why didn't my ship want to lock? I don't know. Annoying when it happens. Very annoying when the ship just refuses to lock. It started to lock, but then it stopped. It's like... I don't know. Are they going to aggro? Nope, they're not. Oh well. And they went to the station, or maybe to the planet. Let's try the planet again.
Warp drive active.
Let's try the planet again. Yeah, I kind of expected that to be a bait. They have been sitting there for a while. Usually when you see a tier 6 ship just sit in a belt or something, or an anomaly, that's usually a bait. Oh well, they definitely went to the station. Fine, fair enough. That means I will dock as well, and perhaps they return. We will see. If they return, I am using the Maler,
Warp drive active.
of course, because that's the... I think the Maler is tier 6, the Omen Navy is tier 6 as well. Yeah, that's the equivalent. I'm still waiting to see what the developers will do with the overall
Docking
tech
request
tree
accepted.
and...
Undocking.
It's something that I think we're all waiting for. No, they have returned, and they are in the next anomaly. Seems like they are running anomalies.
Warp drive active.
Well, let's see if I get lucky a second time here, or maybe I get unlucky the second time. We will see. Landing, there is the Omen. They already finished. They definitely clear very quickly. That's not too bad, I guess. Keeping at range, webbed and scrambled, and now if they have stabs, they will warp off, but I don't think they have stabs. So Let's see what happens next.
We're under attack.
Shield on the Omen almost removed. My own shield also almost removed, okay. Omen does have DPS. I'm an armor tank.
Shield
That's a
damaged.
very big shield extender there. Could technically be a implant. Could have been an implant, really. Pulse crystal, perhaps. Yeah, let me turn off the armor repair. Let the Omen think that they're winning a little bit. Although ironically I can tank them with only one armor repair, but let's make them believe that they are actually destroying my ship. And let me also save my capacitor a little bit. I have a lot. This is a large capacitor battery, by the way, and dual medium armor repairers. Haven't changed this build in ages. I said to myself I'll change the build when this thing dies. So far it's not dying, so time to use the repairers a little bit. Yeah, that's some nice armor repair. Could be much better though. Again, I can fit better armor repairs on this thing and tank a lot more, but the sole purpose and goal of the ship was to be cheap. So I'm definitely maintaining that cheap aspect of the Omen. One of the cheapest and most fun ships that I own at the moment. Okay, Omen is boosting shield. That's definitely a very weird build on the Omen. Not what I would use on my ship, that's for sure. And the Omen has been destroyed. Let me take a look at the wreck. Well, not bad. I'll take the materials. I'll take the items. Technically useful because I'm also doing some industry stuff as well, and they are good reprocessing materials. I also like to collect loot.
Warp drive active.
But that was a good little catch. I guess I was lucky the second time. Landed at 0 and caught the Omen Navy. Okay, where is the station? I'm lost. Let's see. Yeah, let's just approach and let's dock. Once you get used to doing this, you
Warp
will
drive
probably
active.
prefer this way of waiting out the criminal timer. It is still risky. I can crash, my game can crash, the internet can crash, and I can get probably killed by gate guns, but I'm willing to take the risk to just dock with timer. It's the safer thing to do, really.
Docking request accepted.
And docked. How many kill marks I have on this thing? I think I have like 30 kill marks on the Omen. Yeah, Omen definitely. That's a weird Omen. I think I have like 40 kill marks on the Mauler, which is kind of funny. Let's take a look at the kill. 124 million, not bad. They had a damage control, okay. And a medium extender. Cursed build for sure. That's a very cursed build. Cargo hold rig, because you definitely don't want to run out of cargo hold in your combat ship. Anyway, let's go to the next target.
Undocking.
Well, apparently I'm also using Yang ships nowadays. Well, I mean, I'm really excited to see the actual Kanyo introduced in the game, as well as the other banana destroyer. I think these two ships will be very fun to use, and they have probably a good potential to have a lot of DPS. I have about 400 or 500 decomposers, maybe more. I have a lot of them, and their price is very
Warp
high,
drive
so
active.
looking at a very good profit when these ships come out, or when these ships are being hyped. That's when I'm selling my decomposers, and that's the moment when I'm making a lot of ISK. Spend most of my ISK on the Bombard tactic implant. but still have enough in backup to be ready for young ships.
Warp drive
That's
active.
that's a stabber, okay. It's appropriate target for the Canyu prototype. Probably one of the few Canyu prototypes still in the wild. These things used to be all over the place, now they are very rare, and that's a fantastic weapon. Just within my optimal range, that's good. The composers are very reliant on optimal range. If you just go a kilometer over optimal, you will not be able to hit anything, so you really have to be in optimal in order to hit stuff with it. And one more hit should finish the stabber. There we go. Nice. Let's take a look at the wreck. Surprisingly has enough tracking to hit the pod. Did not expect that it would hit the pod, but it did. Unironically a very funny ship to fly around. And let's loot. Let's warp out. We will see what will happen with, I think, the next major update. The next major update might even be introduced this month, to be honest, since Titans are already speculated for anniversary. I mean, we already know that. It should have been released last year on the anniversary, but it wasn't. A good thing that it wasn't, because the game didn't really need them at the time. But yeah, August isn't really that far away now, like, what, 3 months from August? 4 months?
Warp drive active.
So Titans are not that far off, and until then we will have a lot more things added. I think a big update is definitely scheduled to be very soon. I really think a big update is scheduled for the very near future. Anyway, let's take a look at the stabber. Probably not an expensive one. 80, okay, I actually pulled that back. 85 million for a stabber is quite a lot. That's not a bad kill. A decent valued stabber. Usually they are 10, 15, 20 million, but that one is quite cheap. Alright, let's go to the next target. I think we had the Myrmidon returned. Oh, okay. So let's go to the Myrmidon and let's drop the Prophecy to command. Now this is a ship that I have an nanocore for. I have a illusionary ghost nanocore. I didn't equip it though. I always forget to do that. But I have a illusionary ghost core for this thing, and let me tell you, it works really well with Bombard. I think I have like 20,000 DPS with the core on the Prophecy. No, this time I actually warped. There wasn't a good warping, and this is why I like to use the Celos for targets where there is no good warping, because they would not be able to warp off if I was in the Celos. That's the thing. But they warped off, and I will do something funny. I will do a log off trap here, and I will wait for them. Now, usually a log off trap is good to pull off when you have an alt to watch the system, and usually a alt is preferred that has no affiliation with your main account, so that the target isn't spooked by your alt. And of course your alt needs to be a secret, so that the target does return. But I am pulling log off traps really well without an alt, and completely doing it completely blind. That means I kind of estimate when they'll warp back and how they'll warp back in the distance, and usually I nail it, like this time. Funny enough, they didn't even notice me, which is why log of traps work that well. They have been scrambled, and yeah, that's a lot of DPS. Well, the bombs kicked in a bit late, but the Meridian has been destroyed. And I got some decent loot as well, I'll take it. And now we can warp off. That's a second Meridian kill today, with a different ship. I like to fly all sorts of different ships. I used to fly one specific ship throughout a PvP video in the past. Now I just fly whatever I feel like flying. Mostly because that's the right way to counter ships. But I mostly do it because I just enjoy flying all sorts of different ships. It's much more fun than flying a single ship. And speaking of flying different ships, I have plans to fly a Drake into PvP, because I think that's going to be quite a lovely ship to try out. I think that's the only battlecruiser hull that I haven't used for PvP, so I have to use a Drake for PvP. Should be a very interesting ship. Has a lot of shield, and I think with extenders I can put two large extenders on that thing and have DPS. Should be quite fun to see how that will work. Okay, let me unload the loot. There we go. And let's leave the ship to prevent any mistakes. Let's say to prevent any accidental undocks with criminal timer. And let's take a look at the kill. 366 million. Not bad, I'll take it. And the golden nanocore is still there. But yeah, a very solid catch, second catch for today when it comes to a Meridian. Now, I'm taking out a Talvar, something I haven't done in a while. And we have a Condor 2. Now, when I looked at the account age, pilot age of the Concorde, of the Condor, it is a 4-year-old account, so could be a Condor bait, could be a what's up with Concorde? Condor, not Concorde, Condor. But in any case, let's see what happens. I did have a target painter, and okay, that's a hit. They are definitely fast, and they are recovering shield very rapidly. That's interesting. Second missile impact. Yeah, that removed the shield and armor. Now they are in hull, and let's approach. Well, they did hit me, okay, but I have destroyed the Condor. Let's take a look at the wreck. I think they have been using torpedo launchers. That's why I took a big hit there. Well, big hit, not exactly a big hit, but you know, big for a Talvar. And this is only a tier 4 Talvar, so yeah, I love this thing, by the way. Reminds me on the old days where I used to fly this thing. It was so fun, so much fun to use this thing for PvP. It still is 4.7 million. They also had long range missiles. Okay, that's interesting. Oh well, let me dock and then we can go to the next target. But yeah, you can still have a lot of fun with these ships. They are definitely not useless. They have their purpose. Every single ship has purpose. Let's go to the next target, and I am flying the Space Banana. The target is a, let's see, Serpentis base, okay, Cormorant 2. Well, let's go in. Haven't been using the space banana for PvP
Warp
in
drive
a
active.
very long time. And this is going to be a good example of what I'm talking about when it comes to decomposer optimal range. Well, that cormorant is far away. Yeah, I have an afterburner. I'm not going to be able to get to them on time. They're aligned to the planet. Let me go to the planet. And then I will warp
drive
at
active.
90 kilometers, around that. Thankfully the base is quite close by, so actually let me warp to about 50-70 kilometers, since I don't have a, I forgot I have no scrambler. I'm kind of a long range
Warp
build.
drive active.
So let's see. I have 5000 in shield, which is hilarious, by the way. That's a good warping, good enough. And first hit, it missed. Let me approach to 11. This is what I'm talking about. Even being 1 kilometer above optimal, it misses. So it has to be closer. And now it's starting to do some proper damage. 650 does good damage actually. It's not too bad.
Attack.
739 does good damage for a prototype. And it missed. The second I go 1 kilometer above optimal, it starts to miss. So it has to be within optimal. Oh, that's a big hit. But the Cormorant has been destroyed, and that's a kill for the space banana. I love to fly unusual ships. Probably the first space banana PvP footage in a very long time. I need to use these things a lot more often. They are so much fun. Alright, let's warp off and then we can dock. I don't have an nanocore for this. Is a skin that we got for free on the very early stages of the game. You do actually get some nanocores for this thing, but they're rare, and I don't have any, unfortunately. Or maybe I do. I just am not aware of that. But let me
Warp drive active.
dock. Actually, I think this thing can have a illusionary ghost nanocore, and we did get some. Oh, I actually might have one. I might have one. Okay, if that's the case, well, this thing will get a new nanocore then. For the lols and giggles, I might get a nanocore for this thing.
Docking request
Just because
accepted.
it's silly. But anyway, that was a good kill for a banana. 5 million, 5.1 million, not bad, I'll take it. Nonetheless, a good kill for a space banana. Let's go to the next target. What am I going to be flying? Oh my god, I'm flying this thing again. Thorax prototype. Okay, should be enough for this thing. The Canyu prototype.
Warp drive active.
They are still fun ships to fly. You just have to have a suitable target for them. And I can technically build this thing to be a bait, but I prefer to use it this way because it's suiting its role a bit more, I would say. Forgot how much shield I have with this thing. I think it has like 25,000 or something, which is a lot of shield for this thing. And there is the thorax, decent enough warping, right in the optimal range. And let's open fire. Going to keep them at 20 kilometers. The composers do the same thing to armors, shield that lasers do to shields. They melt armors, so they're very good against armor tank ships. And that armor was removed very quickly. They're trying to burn away, but that's not happening. Surprisingly fast for a battle cruiser. And one more hit and the prototype will be destroyed. There we go. Prototype has been destroyed. Well, prototype battle in this case. Two prototypes have been fighting. And let me take a look at the wreck. Okay, not bad. I'll take the loot. Not going to complain about any loot, honestly. Any loot is good loot. I'm
Warp
not
drive active.
complaining about that. That's not my style. And now I can go and dock the Canyu prototype. So that would be. I think that would be it for today. It was quite a longer video today. I actually thought to do 2 parts,
Warp
but
drive active.
I didn't really feel like separating it because all of the recordings today, well, I think 90% of the recordings today happened in one day, and usually I like to keep it, kind of to keep a track record of what ships I engage throughout the day. But most of the targets they have been caught on one single day, which is kind of funny. But with
Docking
that being
request
said, hope you guys
accepted.
enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.